I try not to pay too much attention to Simon Jordan. I like my opinions fresh, sincere and original. And you know how when you discover someone who's a flat earther, you can usually predict what their views on a dozen or so other matters are without asking them? I can do that with Jordan, most of the time. Like the old school comedians used to do with jokes, he might as well have his opinions numbered. He rarely changes his mind, relying instead on the way he tells them. In the late 70s, the frontman of popular boy band the Sex Pistols, Mr. Rotten, said, "There are few things less interesting than contrived controversy." And contrived controversy is the business model of Talksport, and Jordan is their contrived controversy queen. But last week, in his pandering to the fans of some clubs by saying outrageous things about Man City, he went a bit too far, got carried away, and in the giddiness of his performative outrage, he revealed more about himself than he intended.
It's appalling, and if I were in the Premier League now, I would be campaigning to expel him.
That's him throwing sardines off the trawler to get the seagulls to swoop. To his struggling podcast, probably. The thing I want you to listen to very carefully is this sentence.
What Man City are doing at this moment in time, I think, is an absolute disgrace. I think they're bringing the game into disrepute. You can't join a club, boys, and then go into the club and go, I tell you what, I don't like the rules, so not only am I going to sue the club, I'm going to sue all its members.
The thing is, Manchester City have not joined this club. Manchester City were founder members of the Premier League 9 years before Jordan bought Crystal Palace. Jordan knows this, so what was he thinking when he said join? What did he mean? I think the better question is, who did he mean? I believe he was referring to City's owners. I think that's who he believes joined the Premier League. I think he views the present-day custodians of this 144-year-old club as some sort of uppity newcomers. In fact, I find it impossible to interpret what he said any other way. Let's listen to it again.
What Man City are doing at this moment in time, I think, is an absolute disgrace. I think they're bringing the game into disrepute. You can't join a club, boys, and then go into the club and go, I tell you what, I don't like the rules, so not only am I going to sue the club, I'm going to sue all its members.
Of course he doesn't hate Man City, nor does he have an agenda against Man City, and I'm not being sarcastic. And when people accuse him of that, they let him off the hook. He can call them Burks, morons and idiots and laugh them off. But this one sentence is different. What this one sentence, including referring to City's owners as boys, reveals is that his enduring problem is with Man City's owners. So far, City's owners have been around 2 more years than Jordan's eventually catastrophic 10 years in the Premier League. They're hardly upstarts, but this is what they are in Jordan's mind. How dare they question things? How dare they fight back? Who do they think they are? When I was researching this, I went through some archives, and do you know what? The contempt he has for City's owners runs all the way through it, like the word Blackpool through a stick of rock. I can't be the only one who's noticed that it's only City he's accused of posing an existential threat to football and suggested they be expelled for doing it. I'd argue that a greater existential threat was the proposal to do away with relegation and promotion, or perhaps the suggestion that we deprive every fan of a fixture every season by playing one in America. Did he say that the people suggesting that are an absolute disgrace? Did he rant about these boys joining a club and demanding to change the rules? Did Jordan assert that the owners who suggested those two things be expelled from the league? Of course he didn't. I wonder why his apoplexy is reserved only for the owners of Manchester City. Before I finish, I'm going to deal with Jordan's argument from first principles. You know, as if his argument makes sense. It is preposterous to suggest that people who join a club can't challenge or sue the club or its members. There are countless examples of private clubs whose members have done so, or threatened to do so to change a rule they thought was wrong, illegal, or even introduced to advantage some members,
Arsenal!
and disadvantage others. For example, women were once excluded from gentlemen's clubs. Minorities were allowed to be caddies but not play golf. Sometimes it took a legal challenge to change these rules that were agreed on by the members. I'm not drawing a moral equivalence here. I am illustrating the principle that private clubs can and have been challenged in exactly the same way City are charging the Premier League. The thing about rules or laws is that they become more robust only when challenged and tested. This is a feature of our adversarial legal system, not a bug. Many people, including Jordan, appear to be suggesting that a rule once in place must never be challenged or tested. And that's a license for tyranny. Jordan ridicules the tyranny of the majority phrase used in City's legal defence without a real understanding of what the term actually means. The most commonly cited weakness in majority rule is that the majority can pursue their own goals, their own objectives, their own agenda at the expense of those who are in the minority. A recent example where this has been really bad for everyone is Brexit. Look, if the current rule is legitimate and legal, it will be robust enough to withstand the scrutiny of an independent body, and the Premier League have nothing to worry about. It should be reassuring then to Jordan and those who agree with him that the Premier League, via leaks to their client media, aren't losing their shit about it and remaining really calm. Right?